Indra, let's talk about a theme from the book Prosperity Consciousness. And you argue that true prosperity arises from self love and acceptance, not material wealth. How do we cultivate this deeper prosperity in a culture obsessed with financial success?
Well, I think we have to learn to not be obsessed with financial success because if you're never going to have enough money to make it work if that's how you go. The prosperity consciousness has to do with loving yourself and being content with what you have and realizing what you're really looking for, which is love. Comes down to love and peace. And that I mention in the book that there's a guy here that I pass every day that I don't know that he has anything. Somebody told me that I see him. I don't, not an early or a late person, but recently I went out at 9 in the morning and at 9 at night, and he was there both times. And somebody said, well, he sleeps on the street, so he doesn't have to go very far to sleep, but he sits there and he doesn't ask anything of anybody. He just has a little cup out and he's just mentally doodling all day, every day for 25 years. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but I mean, even to be able to sit there every day is amazing to me. So can I think he has prosperity consciousness. There was another beggar here. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he didn't have any arms or legs, and was one of the most joyful people that you've ever seen. And he used to pictures or draw pictures with his mouth. Put a pencil in and or a paintbrush and draw stuff. I call that prosperity consciousness, not the financial prosperity, but the prosperity consciousness of finding joy in what you have and don't have.
Mm,
Gratitude is
mm.
prosperity consciousness.
Yeah, no, that's very resonant, Indra, and it makes me think of all the historical figures that were enlightened or saintly or whatever words we might want to use that either gave up material comforts or they never really had them to begin with. And so it seems like there's a connection here, wouldn't you say?
Yes, if you make that your goal, then you're not going to get to sainthood. I mean, there are some rich saints. I remember that I did a one summer I went to Mongolia and I was studying Genghis Khan, and at the same time I was reading a book on Milarepa. And they were rather close in time, maybe 100 years apart, but I mean pretty close. And the interesting thing was that one was poor at birth, but then had the largest empire the world had ever seen. And the other one was rich at birth and then ended up with absolutely nothing.
Both
And
ends.
I found them to be a very without a plan because I don't do plans. I just found it really interesting to study and inspired by both of them. That Genghis is not really understood. He had a bad PR firm, but some really interesting facts about the empire and that they were illiterate and were religion was shamanism and the biggest empire the world had ever seen. The paper from China came to the West from them, and the oranges moved east or west, and silk trade routes and everything. I mean, incredible facts on history that they had techniques of war that nobody had ever thought of because it was so barren in their land that and in the winter that they had to figure out ways to outsmart the animals, and they used that in order to feed themselves, and they used that in their war, and nobody had ever seen these techniques before. So I found them to be I found him and Milarepa to be obviously to be incredibly inspiring, and it was a beautiful summer.